winnersandwhiners.com. Save 75% on any best bet package with the promo code ACTION75. That's ACTION75 at experts.winnersandwhiners.com.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Good morning and welcome into your zone, son. Welcome into Talkin' Ball, top of the hour. 7 o'clock, happy Monday morning, everyone. Brand new live edition, Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond with you until 9 a.m. And the excitement there is because college football is back. It actually starts this week on Saturday. You get a slew of games on the college schedule. You get to wake up early in the morning. You get 11:30 kickoff with Northwestern and Nebraska. A Big Ten game right out of the gates. That's going to be in Dublin, Ohio. You do get games like Illinois and Wyoming in the middle of the afternoon. Florida State will take on Duquesne. You're going to get the likes of New Mexico State and Nevada. But at night, you do get an SEC team. We do get SEC football on Saturday. Vanderbilt Commodores will take on Hawaii Saturday night. Vanderbilt left on Sunday to head over to the islands. They're spending all week over there. They're practicing starting today. They're going to do some tours. They're going to take the Pearl Harbor visit memorial. They're going to do that. But Vanderbilt over in the islands right now. But we get college football this week. It's here. Week 0 of the college football season.
Yes, it is, and it's Dublin, Ireland. Remember, Scott? It's actually across the pond. Yeah. That first name.
It's in Dublin.
That first game. It's in Dublin, Ireland. Northwestern.
Avivia or whatever stadium I think they call it.
Yeah, in Dublin, Ireland, Northwestern, and as you said, in Nebraska, getting it cranked up. So that'll be an 11:30 our time. I don't know what time it'll be over there in Ireland. Probably, I guess, night.
But it's about 7 hours, maybe.
Yeah,
7 hours.
But it'll be an interesting opener, certainly for those two, a Big Ten opener. And again, it's a big season for Scott Frost. Needs to take the next step and not become a true contender in the Big Ten, but at least I'd say win 8 games and make a mid-tier bowl game. But it's a big year for Scott Frost, and just like we always see it with Pat Fitzgerald, Northwestern not picked to be very good this year, which could be a little dangerous because that's when he's had his best seasons at Northwestern. Been there a long time, former All-American there. And under Gary Barnett, and got them to the Rose Bowl. So he's done a solid job there. And I don't know if he's a lifer at Northwestern, but he's certainly turned down opportunities to go to other places to stay. And it'll be an interesting opener there in Dublin, Ireland.
All right, if you want to watch the Vanderbilt game, it's going to be a 9:30 kickoff.
Central. That one will be a late game.
You're going to have to dial up CBS Sportsnet for that one if you want to stay up late and watch Vanderbilt take on Hawaii. Other ones you may want, UNLV will take on Idaho State, Western Kentucky, Austin Peay, Florida Atlantic, Charlotte, North Carolina, and Mac Brown will open up against Florida A&M. You got UTEP and North Texas, New Mexico State, and Nevada. That one will be on ESPN2. But you do have college football on a Saturday. So it is back. It is back. It is back. High school football got underway on Thursday and Friday of this past week. It was good. It was fun. Beautiful weather in some areas for some games. Good night, though. good night for high school football.
Yeah, it's a good beginning. Congrats to Richie Dutton and the Grissom Tigers. Nice upset there over Russellville, 34-21. Big win for them to get started in the Huntsville City Schools. So they get off on the right foot there, 1-0 over at Milton Frank Stadium. You heard the Buckhorn Bucks here on ESPN 97.7 The Zone. They did have some of those weather issues, but they end up with a nice win, 29-14 over their neighbors down the road, the Madison County Tigers and Matt Putnam. So, Matt Patterson and them are 1-0. Unfortunately, the Randolph Raiders lose 41-21 in their opener against West Morgan. But congrats to Drew Phillips and those guys. 6 rushing touchdowns and just an unbelievable. Well, 5 and then 1 kickoff return, but just an unbelievable performance by them to go 1-0. Randolph outgained them, but again, the point in football is scoring and preventing your opponent from doing so. And Brian Stiles' defense did a great job in the red zone and was able to keep Randolph out at some key times. Got a key turnover when they were up 28-21 and pulled away in the fourth quarter, and got an impressive 3-touchdown win at home at Rebel Stadium. And then, of course, the Madison Academy Mustangs, they go down in a shootout. What a performance by that 9th grade QB of Coach Patrick Malone's Deshler Tigers as they went on the road 42-35.
Yep, so some good high school football. Hayes Sparkman put up 77 points Friday night in a 77-9 win over Hazel Green. Decatur shuts out May Jemison on Friday, 65-0. Hartzell over Austin, 46-17. Bob Jones falls to Muscle Shoals, 31-7. So those are just some of the high school games. Arab over Albertville, 47-14. You had, just kind of scrolling down real fast here, I know we're kind of glancing over this and not getting everybody, but Westminster Christian over Lee, 44-23. So just a few of the scores from a Friday night. Don't forget, download the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app. Another busy week of high school football coming up here this Friday. And coming up later in this show, we will give you our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week. It's Monday, so we've got to give it to somebody, and we'll figure it all out later in this show. Busy weekend for both Alabama and Auburn on the practice fields. Scrimmages for both the Tide and Tigers. Here's a little bit of Nick Saban.
How's everybody today? So, I think the big thing we wanted to see from scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2 was how much progress that we could make as a team, how much improvement we would make. The areas of improvement were, discipline to execute. We had too many penalties last week, too many mental errors. So we made some improvement in that area. Effort to finish plays was much better. And ability to sustain, for the most part, was better, even though we got cut short a little bit, probably by maybe 10 plays for each team because we got a storm coming, so we had to cut it off at the end a little bit. But, all in all, I saw a lot of improvement, especially in the first units. The first offense and the first defense was very productive in terms of how they played, how they executed, how they communicated and played together. Second group, both sides of the ball, lots of mental errors still. Lots of struggles, lack of confidence in terms of how they play and how they execute, which, we obviously need to get more guys who can play winning football. But I think everybody's got to ask themselves, the choices and decisions you make helping you get closer to your goals or further away in terms of the way you practice every day, the way you prepare to practice every day, how you take care of yourself off the field. All those things are really important, and I think some of these guys, especially the young guys, probably not used to doing that. So that's just a habit that we got to create. If we're going to be able to accomplish something of significance this season, it's not going to come easy, and people are going to have to make sacrifices to do it. So we'll see how many people we can get to do that. I think, some of the older, experienced players understand that. I think some of the younger guys that we need to come along, need to be able to play winning football, need to make progress, in those areas.
All right, Alabama head coach Nick Saban after the team's second scrimmage over the weekend on Saturday.
Yeah, the biggest thing came out of the scrimmage, just a little bit of cramping, no big-time injuries for Alabama. Jordan Battle, as we had reported, had an ankle injury earlier in the week, but he participated in a black jersey, and from what we understand, did not look limited. So he is going to be okay, should be good for the first game. Nick Saban also went on to say in the press conference that Cam Latu, the starting tight end, week to 10 days, probably still away. Elijah Ricks was also held out due to the fact he's had a little bit of a back injury. Kyrie Jackson did come back in a black jersey and participate some in the scrimmage, but I still think right now Terrion Arnold's taking advantage of that situation. I think Terrion, from all reports, had a very solid scrimmage, did a nice job. Did a nice job in coverage, was physical. And then, Kool-Aid McKinstry's got the other corner slot pretty much locked down. So if there was a game today or even this coming Saturday, I think Terrion Arnold would be the starter, but we'll see how much progress physically with the groin that Kyrie Jackson can make. I don't think right now that Eli Ricks is pushing for a starting job. He's had too many setbacks from an injury standpoint, and also when he, I don't know yet if he's earned the trust of the coaches because he hasn't been out there to practice much in order to get his assignments down. So I think it's still kind of a two-way battle between Terrion Arnold and Kyrie Jackson. I would give Terrion the slight edge right now. Terrion also got some time at kickoff return from what the buzz was coming out Saturday, and as far as offensively, sounded like Bryce Young was really good. Trayshawn Holden, the rising junior, his roommate, had 3 long touchdown receptions and touchdown plays in the scrimmage. And then for the second straight scrimmage, the young freshman Kobe Prentice stepped up in the slot, looking like he's well on his way to winning a job. And then for our community, I think that the exciting thing is Kendall Randolph right now it went almost wire to wire at left guard. With the first team O-line. So there's a really good chance, since he's gone 2 scrimmages in with the first unit, that he's got a chance to start the first game. It's still an ongoing competition with JB and Cohen, but certainly the 6th-year senior is stepping up and performing well. And I think the first O-line, they're really, I think, very close to having that first 5 that you'd like to have heading into your opener against Utah State on September the 3rd.
Let's go out to the phone lines. Pat from Tuscaloosa. I don't know why I paused. Pat from Tuscaloosa with us. Good morning, Pat.
Hey, good morning, fellas. I want to talk a little bit about Thompson and Buford. Oh, my goodness. That Justice Haynes lived up to the hype. Wow. 200-plus all-purpose yards. If that's any indication, he went up against 2 5-stars on defense. He made Tony Mitchell. Kind of reminded me of being over in Arkansas when we had a safety over in Arkansas that Matt Jones just faked out of his cleats, and he went on to play for a long time with the Saints. Wow. I mean, I'm not talking about Jones. I'm talking about our safety played a long time. And, if this is any indication, hey, we got a special man coming to Tuscaloosa. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I'd certainly think Justice Haynes was tremendous. I mean, they thumped Thompson 38-7. He had the 97-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Also had the red zone TD late, where he did make a great move to make a man miss in the backfield and cut it outside and score the touchdown. I mean, Buford's a great football team. There's no doubt about it. There's a reason they've gone actually in the last 5 years from like a 2A school to a 7A school. They're a football powerhouse. They're really a sports powerhouse in the state of Georgia. And certainly I think Thompson's got a really good football team, but they lost their quarterback. He's, of course, now at the University of North Carolina with Mack Brown. They lost a wide receiver, who was I believe, Mr. Football in the state of Alabama. He was at Utah for a semester, and now he's transferred as well. But he was a really special player. So they lost some guys. There's no doubt about it. They lost Jeremiah Alexander to Alabama. So they have some inexperienced guys that's got to grow. And when you play an opponent of that caliber and you don't dodge anyone, and certainly Mark Freeman does not do that, They got exposed a little bit, and it's really weird. It's something you don't see very often, Pat, on a Friday if you follow high school football in Alabama. But to see the 3 top teams from the Region of Death, 7A Region 3, you got Thompson, Hoover, who lost 17-14 to Auburn, and then Hewitt-Trussville lost 37-21, I believe it was, to Central of Phoenix City. All 3 of those teams lose, so that just goes to show you there's some really good football teams in the Southeast and in the Central Phoenix City's case in Alabama.
Gotcha, Drew. I appreciate it, fellas. Hey, y'all have a blessed day. I just want to talk about Justice Haynes because he's not getting enough press.
He'll get some now.
Thanks, Pat. Let's go. Jeff from the Borough with us this morning as well. Good morning, Jeff.
How's it going, guys? Yeah, that Thompson coach up here said they were juggernauts that they wouldn't lose. They're so good they loaded. They was loaded so much. They're playing Lipscomb Academy, I guess, this week or next week, and said they're going to kill them, so I don't know. But they said they were just loaded. They would never lose at Thompson, would never get beat. That's why I saw on Twitter they had lost. I couldn't believe they lost. I was just like, I didn't know what was going on, but and everything about that. So I guess that team's really good. I don't know, but they played last week. But and I was going to ask you, Drew, Atlanta fans booing, Braves booing. I can't believe that they booed somebody.
Well, he deserved.
Well, he deserves to be booed. He deserves to be cut.
Is he going to get kicked off? He got a baseball.
I doubt it. Not with the players' union, the way they do that, Jeff, and the way they guarantee the contracts. He's not. He should be because he's worthless.
Well, yeah, he's worthless. Beating up a woman. Now he's getting drunk. What's he going to do next? Kill somebody?
They gave him a big contract. Sometimes those work out. This one's not. He needs to be gone. But
you saw the video. The video of the whole arrest was put out there on social media. When the officer comes up to the window, Marcell Ozuna says, "I'm Ozuna," with the Braves, hands him his license and his player ID card as well, and then said, everything is fine. And the officer is like, well, how much have you had to drink? Well, we celebrated a win tonight, 3 or 4 beers. And he's like, anyways, the video didn't help him in any stretch.
No.
Yeah. Well, I saw they lost this day, and I saw the Mets come back. I said, well, that's great. The Mets come back and beat the Phillies. So I guess they're 4.5 or whatever about that. But now he should be gone from the Braves and baseball. The Braves should have cut him immediately. What they're dealing, what they're waiting on. I guess they're waiting on more video evidence. I don't know what they're doing, but I guess they pay him too much. They don't spend enough money on people. I guess they lost freedom if they want to pay Ozuna. So I don't know, but I guess we have to wait and see. I wish Manfred would come out and do something, but he probably won't either. So y'all hang in there, guys. Have a good one.
Let's sneak in Brandon real fast this morning. Good morning, Brandon.
Morning, Brandon.
Yeah, morning. I was going to give y'all a little background. Buford has won a state title in football in every single classification in the state of Georgia.
Yeah.
Nobody else can say that.
Yeah, I know that. I know the school has grown by leaps and bounds lately because when I first heard about them about 5-6 years ago, I think they were a 2A school.
Oh, they have grown immensely. I think the last school they built a couple years ago, I think the total price tag on it was around $90 million.
Right.
It's the facilities are absurd. The Calhoun High School above us, who's been a juggernaut in this area, they got trounced by Buford a couple times. And if it hadn't been for some untimely fumbles, I think Buford probably would have won 4 or 5 state championships in a row, somewhere around that area.
Yeah.
But I feel like Thompson, I went back and watched some of that. I feel like they're a really good football team. They just ran into a team that might be top 10 in the country.
Oh, they're top 10 easy, I think. Yeah. Agreed.
I think Thompson's probably still going to show some people some stuff over there in Alabama. And I love this Corky Kell. I love having 3, 4, 5 days of football at night in the evenings and then all day Friday and all day Saturday to come in and watch it on TV. That CBS 46 app, it's just a great primer to get ready for when college football comes in. And we tailgated, had a good time, watched some good games, watched Caleb Downs. Man, he was absolutely phenomenal in that game I watched it recorded so that I didn't have to deal with those long TV timeouts. But that game got gritty down to the end. The get-back coach for Mill Creek took out the official running down the sideline on the kickoff and got him a 15-yard penalty and almost put Walton in position to win that game.
Yeah.
When your get-back coach takes out the official with an elbow and just lays him flat on his back, that's the problem.
Yeah, that's not good. But I will say this, Caleb Downs put on a show. I mean, he played for like 3 or 4 different positions. He's the best safety in the country, and he certainly impressed in his opening performance, that's for sure.
Oh, he impressed me. The fact that he had enough energy to stay on that field and play all those positions that entire game and never look tired. The look on his face, he was pumped up. He was ready to go. He was pumping other people up. And even when he was on the field and they were trying to put 3 or 4 guys on him, he said, I don't mind taking the heat so the other guys can go out here to do something. And they had a guy that scored the go-ahead touchdown for them that, I think that was his first touchdown ever. And that's what you do when you're an all-around good teammate. And, I see them probably winning a state title this year. And people that didn't know who he was before, there's a lot of them that didn't really know who Caleb Downs was. They're going to know who he is by the end of the year because he's going to be back on TV. Most of their games this year, their big games, probably 3 of them, are going to be Fox 5 and CW69 games of the week. So you'll be able to see him on TV at least probably 3 more times this year.
All right, Brandon, thanks for the call, bud.
Appreciate it.
We got to get that break in. When we come back, Travis Ryan going to help us break down that Alabama scrimmage.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
Hey there, folks. Bob Baumhauer here. We're celebrating 40 legendary years here at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. And to kick this off, we're coming in hot with our all-new Alabama Hot Chicken. Fresh southern fried chicken breast smothered in a blend of tangy, immune-boosting herbs and spices with a spicy finish. Served up with a side of homemade smoked Gouda cheese grits, Miss Mary southern greens, and garlic bread. And there's plenty more where that came from. Stop in today and celebrate with us. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
At Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing, and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you up at night, we're here for you. Bryant Bankers put care into action to help you live legendary by stepping up when you need us most and doing what's right even when no one is watching. Come experience a local bank whose people greet you by name and treat you like family. Bryant Bank, member FDIC.
Looking for ways to shine bright this summer? With Summer Dash Pass by DoorDash, get more member-only perks and discounts than ever before. The more you shop, the more you save, with 0 delivery fees and access to exclusive items that make your summer feel easy and breezy. Sign up now with promo code RADIO22 for 50% off your first order up to $15 value. Dash Pass benefits apply only to eligible orders that meet the minimum order amount. Other fees, taxes, and gratuity may apply. Terms apply.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
One NFL preseason game tonight, the Falcons at the Jets. New York 4-0 straight up and against the spread in their last 4 preseason games against Atlanta. The Jets a 1.5-point favorite tonight, the over-under at 38. College football underway this week with a small selection of games in week 0 before the season will kick off nationwide a week from Saturday. Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud is the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. Caleb Williams of USC, formerly of Oklahoma, at -125. Last year's winner Bryce Young of Alabama. Save 75% on any best bet package with the promo code ACTION75. That's ACTION75 at experts.winnersandwiners.com.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, "If you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself."
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now more of Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on your home for Crimson Tide Sports 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
Indeed, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone on a Monday. We mentioned in that first segment, Alabama coming off their second scrimmage of fall camp. Really the last big scrimmage, because 1 week from Saturday, Alabama will open up at home against Utah State. Nick Saban, we heard from Nick Saban a little bit there in that first segment. Happy with some, and obviously, just like every other college football coach in the country, eyeing some improvement in other areas.
Yeah, I mean, certainly he wants to see the second units improve, but I think he was pleased with the first offense and the first defense, and our next guest is going to give us his thoughts and the intel that he's hearing from the scrimmage. Of course, you can read him, and you have been able to since 2003, and he's the senior analyst for BamaOnline.com. Also, does his podcast, his Talkin' Tide podcast with Tuscaloosa News, Alabama beat writer Chase Goodbread, one of his old friends, and the SEC second helping with our good friend Brent Beard, and this is Travis Reier. Travis, welcome back. How are you this morning? We got you, Travis.
Good morning, guys. How's it going?
Good, man. How are you, sir? Just your thoughts on the second scrimmage, the intel that you're hearing. What did you take from it?
I like the receivers in general did a better job of catching the football first and foremost, and that's the consistency that we've heard Nick Saban really talk about wanting to achieve going back to even, I guess, the national championship game, really into spring practice. And so I think you have to consider that a positive. As much as anything, you didn't hear much about injuries at all. So you always sort of hold your breath in that regard, too, when you're going through that second and final scrimmage of the preseason. And there had been some talk late last week about a potential injury to Jordan Battle. Sounds like even though he was apparently in a black non-contact jersey, he had no problem playing at full go. So, those were positive things as well. And there's still some things this team trying to continue to build upon. Depth probably the biggest of those issues, but I think that's the situation confronting 120 teams in Power 5 or FBS football anyway. So, that's always going to be a work in progress. And then I'd say the offensive line, we're seeing what appears to be some continuity where that first 5 is concerned. And, maybe a little bit of a surprise, not so much that Kendall Randolph is in that first 5 because this is a 6-year guy. He's certainly been around and a dependable option, no doubt about that. But maybe more so where he's been lining up in that first 5. But sounds like they're pretty much in go mode at this point where their first 35, 40 players are concerned.
Yeah, and I guess that's good because if you can get that offensive line somewhat in a cohesive unit, you have this whole week. I know this is where preparations start to kick in. You break fall camp, you really start to zero in. So if that offensive line can be together at least for this week, get through Utah State, that's a good thing.
No doubt about it, and especially after the year they had in 2021 with that group where they just never seemed to achieve that preferred level of cohesiveness. Some of it due to injury. They had multiple injuries across that front. They had guys that played through injuries over the course of last season, and then by the end of the season, we've talked so much about the wide receiver position, but a guy like Emil Ekiyor was playing injured. He wasn't just hurt or dinged up there at the guard position. You had a backup center, your number 2 center, and in there for Darian Dalcourt. And I thought Seth McLaughlin did an admirable job in there, but Dalcourt throughout the course of the season apparently had multiple sprained ankles. So, it's obviously a good thing that first and foremost, again, the health of that group looks to be in a good place. And, I think even when you consider some depth possibilities as you move throughout the season, you're developing some guys there. I think when Nick Saban talks about depth, though, that's one of his concerns is that offensive line. So we'll see how that continues to evolve here in the coming weeks.
Yeah, and one that I was encouraged about is I think he feels like he's got 8 guys that can play, and to me, 2 of those are going to be Seth McLaughlin and Javian Cohen, but the third, Travis, is rather interesting and just an educated guess, but because he mentioned him in the post-game press conference or post-scrimmage press conference, but I think Tyler Booker is one of the freshmen that maybe, like a J.C. Latham, he may have to bide his time for a year, but it looks like he's on track to be a really good player.
Yeah, I think he is. I think what's going to be interesting with him, and perhaps it's the case this year, if he is one of those top 2 or 3 guys from a reserve perspective, is, do they feel comfortable with him even at tackle? Because we saw him there in the spring. It seems like he's been maybe more at guard during the preseason, but he obviously has tackle experience at the high school level. I agree, and I think physically you've already seen a bit of a transformation for him. Not that there was nearly as much work to be done as, say, as Shaheem Otis, but I've noticed a difference in him from that perspective, too, from even the spring to fall camp. So, yeah, I think he could be a swing guy. I think he's one of those guys, guard or tackle. You probably feel okay about him being in there. There's other scenarios, if it came down to it, and you lost a tackle, maybe Kendall goes out to tackle, and then you backfill with Javion or a Tyler Booker there inside, and you said it with Seth McLaughlin there. You start putting some things together, and you feel better about that.
Well, obviously, one of the things that Nick Saban highlighted and was asked even on the post of this second scrimmage was the wide receivers. The first scrimmage, he was talking about dropping the balls and everything, and sensed a little bit of improvement there, a little more continuity, though, from the wide receiver position.
Yeah, just consistency with catching the football. That's where it all starts. Yeah. We get so caught up in explosive plays and speed and all those things. You got to catch it before any of that other stuff can matter. And it sounds like it was improved from that perspective. And, some guys that appear to be solidifying some roles when you get beyond Jermaine Burton and you look at Ja'Cory Brooks and Trayshawn Holden really stepping up here going into year 3, especially with some injuries to JoJo Earl, Aaron Anderson. Some of those guys that you were thinking maybe with an emphasis on the slot were going to be especially involved from the outset of this season. That won't be the case, as we know, for Earl So good to hear that Holden is giving them some versatility between maybe the Z position and then working now more perhaps in the slot. So, the thing about it with Bryce, too, is you watch this guy, and he doesn't seem to have a confidence issue or any type of hesitancy when it comes to going to other guys. So he's going to give them every opportunity. He's going to put the ball on them. Bryce doesn't think of it as, well, this guy really hasn't played much. I'm not sure. If you're open or you're even potentially open or he thinks he can throw you open, he's going to target you with the football. Then it becomes your responsibility to make plays. And I think that confidence is maybe being rewarded more and more as we get closer to the season.
And with Kobe Prentice, it just seems like to me, from the buzz you're hearing, that he mentally and physically has just come in ready to go, and that with my intel was he had 7 catches Saturday, Travis, and to me that just shows you that he and Bryce already have really good chemistry.
Yeah, and again, Bryce, it goes back to he doesn't care if you've been there 3 years or 3 days. If he can put the ball on you, he's going to do it, and that's huge for Kobe because that sort of trust will just grow, and obviously the trust of your coaching staff too, which is ultimately most important. So, Kobe Prentice, an interesting guy in that. A year ago, not a lot of people knew about Kobe Prentice. He was an outstanding player at Calera High School, but another one of those camp finds for Alabama. With this era of everything being under the microscope, us feeling as if we know about every legitimate prospect out there. Alabama still has these June camps, and here comes guys like Amari Niblock or Kobe Prentice that emerge, and even in the most recent camp series, you saw a couple of guys step up and earn offers in June that you really didn't know much about. So the evaluation process is still very, very intensive at Alabama. They're not just sort of relying on the star power stuff to identify guys that they want to bring into the fold. They do their diligence, no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, now this is where the preparations begin. I mean, we're a week away from Saturday. A week from Saturday, we finally get Alabama football. This was really that scrimmage. The second scrimmage is pretty important, really, to kind of start looking at that depth chart.
It is, and you really start, by the end of this week, getting into some Utah State stuff from a scout team perspective. You start getting more of that vibe. So, yeah, we're basically 1 week from today, administrative groupings, as Nick likes to refer to it, being in our possession, perhaps. So there's still some things, again, I think more so from a depth perspective that could be intriguing, very interesting to see on paper at that time. But I'm guessing, too, as is typically the case on an annual basis, there'll be plenty of oars on that depth chart that comes out in a week's time.
Well, I know this, too. You're speaking of camp finds, and they offered him all the way back in 8th grade, and he's been kind of a revelation with what he's done since he got there in January. But from all the intel we're getting, and even Nick Saban, continuing to praise him, looks like Jaheim Otis, as far as true freshman, is going to be a factor in the depth chart early against Utah State.
Yeah, it does. And it's just been, I think, a top 3 storyline since he's arrived on campus. I don't know how it couldn't be, not just in terms of the impact he's making off the field, but from a personal level. The commitment he's exhibited to doing what needed to be done from the physical transformation that he's undergone. And again, Amy Bragg and her staff and, the resources that are available to these student athletes at Alabama and places like it these days, it speaks to the reinvestment that is made on a day-to-day basis. And you know what? End of the day, you still have to take advantage of it. So Jaheim Otis, it tells you that getting to this point just wasn't enough to him. There's another level or two that he's looking to ascend to, and he's committed to that. So you like that from his perspective. And there's a lot of scenarios to consider when Alabama goes with a defensive front this season because they love their 3 outside linebackers, as we know.
Yes.
It isn't just Will Anderson. Obviously Dallas Turner in that mix and Chris Braswell. Then you return a really veteran group of core defensive linemen. You got an emerging guy like Jaheim Otis. So how do you work all that together? I think they could be very situational on a down-by-down basis. Now, that becomes a little bit problematic when people go tempo on you and you can't really get guys on and off the field like you like. But he does seem like and sounds like he's very much in that mix, and it's not just, maybe with a start and an emphasis early on, goal line, red zone, short yardage situations. But to hear Pete Golding and some of his teammates talk about him, sounds like Otis is a guy that, down or distance isn't going to matter much. He's going to be on the field.
Well, and Travis, going into now the 2 weeks of preparation for Utah State, their post-scrimmages, someone asked me this weekend, asked me, what was my concerns with the team. I would still say depth at offensive tackle and maybe the corner spot. What are your concerns with this football team going forward?
Yeah, I think at corner, if you can get a couple of guys consistently on the field again, you'll feel better about that. But that's still a little bit. That's become more of a concern here in the last week or two, with Kyrie Jackson out for the first scrimmage, and then Eli Ricks out for the second scrimmage. And you're happy for a young player like Terrion Arnold because he's obviously getting every opportunity right now to show that he can stick opposite Kool-Aid McKinstry. But I've said it before. I've made the comparison to 2018 where you had a situation at corner that went into a week or two at least into the regular season, and that's when Patrick Surtain took over at corner in the Ole Miss game, and you had Trayvon Diggs and Surtain and Savion Smith in that mix. Well, you got 4 guys right now in it at corner. So I think the health and the level of engagement, too, for some of these guys at corner is going to be fascinating to watch because it's been a bit of an up-and-down camp for a couple of those guys. How they come out the other side mentally is something I'll be interested in as much as anything else. And so right now you would think Kool-Aid is one of those guys, but figuring out for sure the second guy, and then, from a depth perspective, and, if you have to, I know this isn't what you'd prefer to do, but if you got to mix in a Brian Branch at corner more, you've got some depth at safety and there in the sub-package roles that could allow you to do that. But I think they'll be fine at corner in time. I'm with you on offensive tackle because I don't know, once you get past their first 2 guys, if they have a legit SEC starting caliber type of option.
Mm-hmm.
They could get into reshuffle mode, which you wouldn't prefer. But maybe Tyler Booker continues to develop and, he can be that guy even at tackle, because if you start thinking about moving Randolph out to tackle, now you're coming back with a new guard, and you lose some of that continuity that maybe we talked about developing here in the last month or so.
And last thought from you, Travis, too. I will say this. I know that you mentioned Aaron Anderson being banged up, and we likely won't see him for Game 1. We know JoJo Earl will be out for a while. I'll just say I think the top 2 backs right now are Jahmyr Gibbs and Jace McClellan. And don't forget, Bill O'Brien did a lot of this when he was with New England and with Belichick. They used the running backs as receivers a lot, and I think those 2 guys are going to be factors in the passing game.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if that weren't the case, because Jahmyr, even at Tech, averaged about 3 catches a game last season. So, Tech was utilizing him in that role, and, some of the different things they can do with the 2-back personnel on the field, the versatility he gives them in terms of those groupings, it's a really positive thing. And, at the end of the day, wherever you line him up, he's an explosive play waiting to happen. So, we talk about maybe guys like Tyler Harrell and, some of the speed at wide receiver not being as involved at this point as you might have thought. But, you get Jahmyr Gibbs on the field with, some of these other receivers, and, you're able to cover and then some for some of that.
No question. Well, Travis, appreciate the time and the insight into scrimmage 2 for the University of Alabama. Let everybody know how they can connect with you over at BamaOnline.com.
Just go to BamaOnline.com or Alabama.247sports.com. Either way will get you to us.
Thanks, Travis. We always appreciate it.
Let's get that break in when we come back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
We're back to all clear this morning. We had that wreck in Decatur, Beltline near Westmead. It's been cleared out of the way now. You be careful on your trip in, dealing with a heavy traffic load, and definitely want to watch out in those school zones. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Depression and anxiety affect almost 20% of Americans each year. At Integrated Behavioral Health, our mission is to provide patient-centered, high-quality mental health services in a caring and compassionate setting.
IBH staff is wonderfully compassionate and friendly. They help me through a lot of my issues. I love this place.
If you're dealing with depression, anxiety, or other mental health disorders, make your appointment today. Call 855-422-1618. Integrated Behavioral Health in Madison and Decatur.
Progressive presents Married to Your Home.
If you want to leave me for another house, I totally understand.
House? Where's this coming from?
It's just, I know there's some newer homes on the market.
I didn't even know that, because I'm not looking.
I bet those other houses don't have a crack in their foundations.
You know that crack doesn't bother me.
No matter how much you already love your house, you'll love it more knowing you could save big bundling your home and auto with Progressive. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
DQ presents... Picture this. Picture the burger of your dreams. It's on the new DQ Signature Stack Burgers menu. A lineup of 5 premium burgers like the Flamethrower Signature Stack Burger and Loaded A1 Signature Stack Burger with 100% seasoned real beef patties, melty cheese, and a combo of top-notch toppings and sauces galore. This dream burger is calling your name. But it isn't a dream. You're ordering at the DQ drive-thru. Hello. The DQ Signature Stack Burgers lineup. Try it today. DQ. Happy tastes good.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Hi, this is Chris Stewart. The quest for a 19th championship starts this fall. Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We've all seen the Dr. Pepper commercials with Clemson quarterback DJU in Fanville. Well, this year there is no more DJU when it comes to Fansville. Bryce Young, the new face of Fansville. So Clemson quarterback DJU was in there last year. This year, you will be able to see Bryce Young on all of the Dr. Pepper commercials for Fansville. He's taking over for DJU.
Yeah,
so,
he should. DJU threw it to the other team too much or hit the bull.
Well, Fansville hasn't been – I haven't been that impressed. I mean, it's good to be a part of, but I wish –
Well, they got rid of my man after
Yes.
the first year. So I mean, once they got rid of the
Larry Culpepper.
Yeah, once they got rid of Larry, it's just it hasn't been the same.
No,
Boz can't carry it so by himself. Needed some Larry, so they got rid of Larry Culpepper. So they even had Larry Culpepper on Feinbaum at one time. So
speaking of getting rid of, I don't know if getting rid of is the right way, but LSU and Brian Kelly. John Emery is going to miss the opening 2 games of the season because of a suspension. Now, that's Florida State and Southern.
Yeah.
And then LSU also, let me get this one here. LSU suspends cornerback Radarius Jones for the entire 2022 season.
Oh, gotcha. Well, I mean, it's disappointing for Emery. I think he could be a breakout candidate there, but I was already wrong about Miles Brennan, who never really pushed for the quarterback spot. Already walked away from the team. Emery missed last season due to moronic head coaching, and he didn't have the credits needed to be eligible. But, of course, if his moronic head coach had been more concerned about that and monitoring things and having checks and balances instead of trying to hit on women, then he probably would have been eligible. But they had a train wreck program. But this is on Emery. I mean, you're supposed to be eligible. You need to be good to go. This is kind of your draft year here, and you're getting suspended early, so that's not good.
He was out the whole entire 2021 season.
Yeah, he did not play one down.
Yeah.
So, we haven't seen Emery in over a year in a live game, and so you need to take advantage of every opportunity. And this goes back to the situation of, again, it's probably going to take, and that's why several people had LSU picked in Atlanta in the bottom half of the SEC West. They still have talent. There's no question about it, but you're having to fix a culture that was fractured because of a meathead head coach.
And Ed Orgeron, yeah, and the suspension of Radarius Jones is similar to that of Emery from last year, and that it's due to academic issues.
Well,
so
I mean, and then again, this is more fallout from Orgeron.
Yeah.
And they, things weren't being done properly in that program. It's going to take, Kelly a time to clean it up. When Nick Saban got to Tuscaloosa, he had knucklehead left, knucklehead right, and had to get rid of some people before they could really reset it in 2008 and make a run at a championship. Now, it only took him a year. We'll see if it's the same kind of situation with Brian Kelly. But the old adage is there are no utopias, and there sure as heck aren't if you're having to clean up an Ed Orgeron mess. Ole Miss learned that, with the Hummers and everything, and then they had to clean up that program, which was a wreck because he couldn't, he could recruit. It was very similar. He had good players at Ole Miss, just didn't know how to direct them, and except for one, epic season where everything lined up for him, it was much the same at LSU. He was very fortunate to put together the staff he had there, and then Joe Burrow was dropped in his lap. And much like Gene Chizik didn't even know who Cam Newton was till they recruited him, he didn't know who Joe Burrow was.
Well, Gene Chizik didn't even know what Cam Newton could do until midway through the year.
Yeah, I know, until the check cleared. But but anyway, but like I said, it's one of those things where I just don't think that, neither Gene Chizik nor Ed Orgeron were head coaches, and that's why they couldn't sustain the success after the years that they had. And even that said, I got to give Gene Chizik credit too for this. Gene Chizik could recruit as well, because when he left, I mean, the first year, Gus Malzahn went to the national championship game, so they had good players. I think Brian Kelly has good players. It's just, how long is it going to take to get everybody's mind where it needs to be?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Those similarities between Ed Orgeron and Gene Chizik, the more you look at it, the more they really are the same. Gus Malzahn was the offensive coordinator for Gene Chizik, a upcoming coordinator, wide open, brilliant type of mind as a coordinator. Ed Orgeron had his version of a Gene Chizik in there in Joe Brady as a mind there as far as the offensive goes. Texas naming Quinn Ewers their quarterback. Steve Sarkisian making that announcement over the weekend that Quinn Ewers will take over as the starting quarterback for the Texas Longhorns.
Not really a surprise, just mildly a little bit, because the intel had been that he'd been struggling a little bit, Ewers, and that Hudson Card, some thought was had a chance still to beat him out. I think they thought it was going to go on for a little bit longer before Steve Sarkisian made the call, but he named Quinn Ewers the starting quarterback. Some people think that's a little bit of politics because Hudson Card started last year before losing the job. Ewers never played it down at Ohio State behind C.J. Stroud. There's been some thought that maybe he was struggling from the neck up with the offense and with his accuracy, and we'll see. Certainly, they're going to get a tune-up before they play against Alabama, but I still think when it's all said and done that I think Texas will be better, but I don't know how much better. And there was rumors that they had another offensive line injury in their scrimmage. So, with this Alabama defense and how good I think it's going to be, especially rushing the passer, if you don't have a healthy first five and a good offensive line, Quinn Ewers, it may not matter. He may not finish the game.
Well, Steve Sarkisian hitching his wagons to I guess he would be a redshirt freshman or a freshman quarterback. When we come back, how close are the Auburn Tigers to naming their starting quarterback? We'll hear from Brian Harsin. Plus, we'll hand out a 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week, our first one of the year, coming up.
Your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
There's the knee, and Alabama has again done the job. Folks, the more things change, the more they remain the same. Alabama is still Alabama.
Your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Madison Academy football. Stop into the University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including the all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com to view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see you in a Kia. Go Mustangs!
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
We're back to all clear this morning. We had that wreck in Decatur, Beltline near Westmead. It's been cleared out of the way now. You be careful on your trip in, dealing with a heavy traffic load, and definitely want to watch out in those school zones. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
One NFL preseason game tonight, the Falcons at the Jets. New York 4-0 straight up and against the spread in their last 4 preseason games against Atlanta. The Jets a 1.5-point favorite tonight, the over-under at 38. College football underway this week with a small selection of games in week 0 before the season will kick off nationwide a week from Saturday. Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud is the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. Caleb Williams of USC, formerly of Oklahoma, at -125. Last year's winner Bryce Young of Alabama, +110. Red Hot winning picks at experts.winnersandwhiners.com. Save 75% on any best bet package with the promo code ACTION75. That's ACTION75 at experts.winnersandwhiners.com.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
All right, welcome back. It is hour 2 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone, and it's always exciting when we flip that calendar into August because you know what time it is.
Each week, they lace it up. Each week, we'll present our Team of the Week.
Get it in here! I got one thing to say!
So it's time for the Bryant Bank Team of the Week presentation.
That's right. Congratulations. This week it goes out to our Week 0 winner. We're going to start off just a few miles down the studio. And congratulations to the Grissom Tigers. They bring home the honor after knocking off Russellville at home to get the year 2 started under the Rich Dutton era for the Grissom Tigers.
Yep, 34-21 over at Milton Frank Stadium. Big win for Grissom. Huge win for the Huntsville City Schools. It was the only one the Huntsville City Schools got on the Week 0, but it was a huge one. Russellville under John Ritter made a deep playoff run last year as the favorites in their region. Grissom, had a rebuilding year under Rich Dutton in year 1, but looked much improved with their performance against the Golden Tigers and winning by 2 touchdowns and winning, and playing extremely sound football. And so, to me, as you were looking at our area that we cover with Bryant Bank, our great sponsor, they just stood out. I mean, I know Decatur was very impressive with Jared Adcock. I mean, they shut out May Jemison. But when you look at Grissom and who they beat and the expectations for Russellville each and every year, and going into that game, you probably would have thought that Russellville might have been a slight favorite, but certainly Grissom won and won impressively. I just think they were an easy choice for our Bryant Bank Team of the Week, and congratulations to Coach Rich Dutton and all those young men at Grissom who performed so well and are now 1-0 heading into a matchup on the road with Hazel Green.
Yeah, there were a lot of great candidates. You had to throw in Sparkman's 77-point performance there against Hazel Green.
Yep.
That was a big one as well. And you look around, West Morgan's win, Westminster Christian's win over Lee was a big one, a 44-23 win. Priceville over Plainview, 20-8. That spoiled the return of Dale Pruitt back to the sidelines for the 3rd time there in the Plainview colors for Dale Pruitt. So there were a lot of great candidates out there, but Grissom, our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week. Don't forget this year, if this season, it's any sport is available to be a Team of the Week. So a volleyball team that's coming off a great weekend, a cross-country team that is coming off great performances, cheerleading squads that are coming off great performances. Make sure you send us a note. Let us know those performances. We can do a lot of research. We can go through the results and look, but make sure you send us those results so that we can consider every performance out there for a Bryant Bank Team of the Week honor. So Grissom Tigers, we're coming your way with a special presentation. And we'll announce those each Monday here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. The Auburn Tigers coming off their second scrimmage as well over the weekend. Brian Harsin fills us in.
I don't know, it wasn't the quarterbacks. I just think we started slow from the offensive standpoint. That's also a credit to our defense as well. It's not just, one side wasn't executing. I thought the defense did a good job in those red zone situations. That's where we started yesterday. But overall, what we're looking for from the quarterbacks is operation. And that's the biggest thing. I mean, I know everybody wants to see these guys go out there and just make plays, but you have to get the call from the sideline. You got to communicate it. You got to operate. And that's the most important thing right now is what we're looking for. And they did that. So they did a good job with that. Then they made plays. So probably that third series, fourth series, it started to pick up. Tempo picked up. Execution picked up. And I thought TJ did some really good things in the scrimmage as far as just managing the clock and the situations and making sure that we didn't have to call timeouts. So he has a really good awareness on the field. I thought Robbie made some plays, just standing in the pocket and throwing. He made some plays with his feet and getting out and scrambling and making a few throws. Zach did a nice job as well. He moved the chains and scored touchdowns. So all three guys, Holden didn't get a ton of reps in the scrimmage, but those three guys mainly, they all did some positive things that we needed to see from them. But overall, I thought it was solid from an offensive standpoint. I thought the defense came out and played well. The first group in particular, those guys did a nice job. And then special teams, we did some of that. It's not live, but it was good to see some of the special teams work and just our specialists get out there. And I thought that was an okay day for our specialists. We're usually better than that because I think we have really good specialists on this team. So we need to be better in that area. That was the challenge today, that we improved there. But we worked on red zone, we worked on 2-minute, we worked a backed up situation, and we did a little bit of goal line in that scrimmage, and we did some individual, and we did our whole pregame routine. That was what was really important for us to make sure that we come out there and we look like we know what we're doing in the pregame.
If you're going to start game prep on Tuesday, do you anticipate knowing who your starting quarterback is by then?
Yeah, I don't know, too early to tell right now. I mean, I'll get with the coaches. We're going to take today and the coaches are going to handle what they need to and do some of the things personally so they can be ready to go on Sunday. And then what we'll do after our team activity on Sunday is we'll sit down as a staff and we'll start going through, all right, where are we at? All right, so potentially by Tuesday we could be there, and I want to see what everybody thinks. One thing about a quarterback situation, it's not just the QBs. I mean, we're looking at other positions as well. Go up there and just look at, all right, what gives us the best opportunity to go out there and operate what we want to do. Defensively, offensively, who's going to travel, look at the travel squads for special teams, who's playing on special teams, and that's a big part right now that we've been harping on with guys is like, look, you want to get on the bus, you got to find a way on teams if you're not the guy on O&D. And so we'll probably look at that Sunday. I'm sure on Monday go back and let everybody look at the board again and kind of let it all sink in and see if this is where we're going. I'm not saying by Tuesday we have the final decision. That final decision will come towards the end of next week, for sure going into that last week, game week. But I want to see where everybody's at with just their thought process on who we think the guys are.
Just a little bit there from Brian Harsin. Brian did kind of break down, Coach Harsin did kind of break down all three of the quarterbacks there, TJ Finley, Robbie Ashford, Zach Calzada. I mean, if you listen to everything that he says, Drew, I mean, if I had to put it on there right now, I would say TJ Finley comes out and starts against Mercer, but Zach Calzada is going to play quite a bit right now just by listening to the tone of Brian Harsin.
Well, I do think that Ashford's athletic ability may be taken advantage of and his mobility, but I think, and this was the case when he was at Hoover, his accuracy as a passer leaves much to be desired. I don't know that he can throw the ball well enough to be able to sustain their offense. Calzada is probably the best pure passer, but I don't know from the standpoint of from the neck up if he has enough knowledge of the offense yet and mastered it. TJ Finley has been there longer, was really played quite a bit last year in his first year on campus, and it went through the entire spring. Zach Calzada only took mental reps because he was hurt with a shoulder injury. So this may not play itself out until after the first two games. And, of course, first two games being Mercer and San Jose State, opponents that Auburn should be able to handle. And, so you could see all three quarterbacks play in those two games. And then you may see finally a guy emerge for the home game against Penn State in week 3. But it does sound like that it's far from over. I would bet on TJ Finley at this point in time. I know a lot of people were counting on Calzada to start fall camp, but again, he had been hurt, shoulder problems, surgery, and had not had the reps that others had had. All we saw in the offseason was him throwing against air in the football building. We saw Paul Tyson do that last year for Alabama, and some folks, there was a member of the media that compared him to Aaron Rodgers. I don't know what he was smoking at the time, but again, when a guy is throwing against air, it's air. It doesn't mean a dadgum thing. And so Paul Tyson never pushed for the job.
Right.
Good kid from a great family, but was never going to be the starting quarterback at Alabama. We'll see if Calzada can continue to progress. But right now, I would say I would be comfortable in saying, and we'll talk to Justin Hoganson about this in a few minutes from Auburn Live on 3, but I think you'd have to give a slight edge right now to TJ Finley, even though of the three quarterbacks in their scrimmage reps and in practice,
Right.
I think they're looking at every little thing, and we're going to talk to Justin about that. But he has had the most turnovers as Finley, but I think he has a better mastery of the offense from the neck up than the other two guys.
Is this a similar situation to what Alabama kind of went through when, oh my goodness, the kid that came from the Mobile area that transferred in?
Jake Coker.
Jake Coker and Blake Sims. Is this a similar situation to that where everybody thought Jake Coker was going to be the starter because he came in, and Blake Sims got that job, and then Jake Coker comes back the next year and is the starter? Is it similar?
Somewhat.
Is it
It
similar
could
to
be.
that? I mean, the feeling around it?
I mean, I don't –
Not potential-wise and leading to a national champion and everything, but I'm talking about, the perception is that Jake Coker was supposed to be the starter, but Blake Sims kept it.
Well, I mean, a little bit, but let's also not misunderstand something. Blake had been there longer. And then Jake, if I remember correctly, Jake did not take part in spring practice, much like Calzada.
Right.
And so a lot of people thought that Jake would come in there and potentially win the job because Blake had only been a backup, and when he came in, he did not throw very much. He basically ran zone reads and things of that nature, but he threw the ball much, much better than anybody anticipated. He was a better passer than Jalen Hurts. He was a better passer than Jalen Hurts. He was a better passer than Jalen Hurts. I'm going to continue to bang that, especially with the deep ball. And, Blake never played professional football, but he was 5'11". He didn't have a lot of the measurables.
Right.
And so he, and again, matter of fact, he just officially retired. I mean, he's played some, indoor and football and some other stuff. He's tried to play in the CFL. He wasn't a pro, but he had a great senior year at Alabama and really surprised a lot of people. And Lane Kiffin designed an offense around him that was very, very productive. It could happen again at Auburn, but I don't get that sense that TJ Finley is going to explode like that. I do think Calzada is the better player. If he gets the offense down, the better arm talent. But again, what it's going to come down to is which one of those two guys makes the least mistakes, because the one concerning part is the turnovers to TJ Finley. You can't turn the ball over. I think regardless of who comes out of this starting early in the season, and it's probably going to be Finley, there's not going to be a long leash. I mean, there wasn't even a long leash for Bo Nix at times.
Right.
If people forget, Bo bounced back and played really good football afterwards, but he played horrifically against Georgia State, and TJ Finley came off the bench to save Auburn in that game. So, again, I just think it's a very close race. and we're going to see probably all three of these young men in the first two games.
By the way, Emory Jones named the starting quarterback at Arizona State over one Paul Tyson. So Emory Jones will be the starting quarterback for Herm Edwards' group over Paul. They announced that over the week. They announced that anyway. But yeah, so just so you know, Emory Jones is the quarterback. Paul Tyson and Trenton Bourgeois was battling for that job, but Emory Jones
just like LSU brought in Jaden Daniels, because obviously, and Matt Moscona told us this, and we should have read those tea leaves. They already knew that they had, a Garrett Nussmeier, and of course they had talked Miles Brennan back out of the portal, but they looked at everybody and still brought in Jaden Daniels, and he started. Same thing with Emory Jones. Arizona State knew they had Paul Tyson, and he'd come in from Alabama. But once again, he did not win the job. And I've always said this about Paul Tyson. I think he's a great kid. He has great size. He was very productive with an outstanding supporting cast at Hewitt-Trussell High School, for Josh Floyd. But I still think he's an FCS quarterback. I don't think he's an FBS quarterback. I think he should be playing somewhere like Samford University, somewhere smaller. I just don't think he has the arm talent to be a Power 5 quarterback.
All right, so Tennessee is getting ready to open the season against Ball State 1 week from Thursday. The Vols will be the second SEC team to kick off the season after Vanderbilt does so this weekend. One position, though, that they don't have an answer for, and that is who's going to be wide receiver number one. Will it be Brew McCoy, or will he not be on the sidelines come Saturday? Drew, his eligibility is still in question, and over the weekend, Josh Heupel mentioned, hey, Tennessee's doing everything they can, all this other stuff, and then everyone starts putting out there, well, USC could do a lot, and if they could get an official release from USC, that would go a long way to get a waiver from the NCAA. Now, Brew McCoy, everybody I think that knows college football knows his story, but if you don't, he transferred from USC and then transferred to he enrolled at USC, transferred to Texas several weeks later for spring practice, then transferred back to USC, didn't play a game for Texas, and then transferred from USC to Tennessee and wants to become eligible. Well, USC has responded and said that they have done everything consistent with the rules. They've done everything to get his eligibility up to speed. They are the ones not holding back on getting Brew McCoy on the field. But Tennessee right now still does not have an answer whether or not Brew McCoy is going to be able to play.
Who? Has he ever made a play? Ever? I mean, I don't know. Who? I mean, he was a 5-star in a galaxy far, far away a long time ago, and he's never done a damn thing on the college level. Who cares?
Tennessee cares.
I guess.
They want him on the field.
But he'll probably end up at Tennessee State by then. I'm just saying. He's never stayed anywhere long,
right.
And when he's been there, he hasn't made any plays. So what have you done? This is not Jordan Addison.
So why the holdup then? Why do you think there's
Probably because he didn't do the job in the classroom. And when you transfer 15 times, that's what happens. You sort of lose credits, Because, I mean, this is the second UT that he's tried to enroll in, all right? He lasted about a semester at the other one. And they're soft as butter and suck. So, I mean, As a matter of fact, he's come from two places that sucked. First, Texas sucked, and then USC sucked. So, I mean, why are you putting so much expectations that Brew McCoy is going to do something? You think he's going to come out of nowhere like Cedric Tillman? I doubt it. Better hope Squirrel White does something. He's a true freshman, but he's at least eligible and practicing. Unlike Brew McCoy. I guess Brew McCoy's probably, I don't care. He's never made any plays. He's been like a myth.
Right.
Alabama recruited him out of high school. I guess they made the right decision when they didn't bring him in because he's been a disaster, is all I'll say. Thank goodness he didn't have NIL back in the day. He probably would have already retired and just gone to have some Cane's sugar. What is it, Cane's?
Raising Cane's?
Yeah, Raising Cane's. Yeah, some chicken fingers or something. I don't know. Oh, Lord.
I know.
He would have already probably took his money and gone home.
It's one of those things, but Tennessee has.
I hope he gets eligible. Maybe he'll be good. I don't know. But the whole thing is just tiresome. It's like Brew McCoy on his 5th school or 4th, or I've lost count.
I think it's his 3rd.
Whatever. I don't know.
So you're right, though. Okay, he was a 5-star prospect,
He was.
number 1 athlete in the 2019 recruiting class.
Oh, it was 2009. That recent? I thought it was 18.
No, he took a red shirt.
I've lost track.
Well, you're right, though. But he took a red shirt in 2019, played 6 games in 2020, and did not play in 2021.
Did he even catch a ball in 2020?
No, he did not. He played in 6 games. He had 3 starts.
He's never even caught a ball.
Played 6 games, 3 starts in 2020.
Why are they talking about him?
He's
never caught a ball. He's been arrested more than he's caught passes.
He was arrested in, I don't know how many. I need to look at his stats. Okay?
Is he related to Ozuna?
Let's not go there. He was arrested in 2021 on suspicion of a felony intimate partner violence.
Okay.
I'm trying to find his stats to see exactly what he has done as far.
Nothing. Since his days with Bryce at Mater Dei.
Okay, so he has 21 receptions. So his 2020 stats were 21 receptions.
He did catch 21.
236 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Okay, so at least he did catch a few. See, I didn't even follow that. So during COVID, he caught 21. Okay.
But he only appeared in 5 games.
Well, that's not bad. 21 catches in 5 games. At least he did something.
Right. He had 6 catches against Oregon for 76 yards. That's his most with 1 score. That's his best game as a college player. And Tennessee's hoping that he can bring some explosiveness to that wide receiver room. But the NCAA has not cleared him yet. So they have a little over a week to get him on the field.
Well, we'll see. Like I said, man, he's never really lived up to it. At least I honestly stopped following him once he circled back to USC, and then I didn't even realize that he played during 2020. But at least he made a few plays.
All right. Well, the Auburn Tigers are trying to pencil in their guys along the depth chart as well, including that wide receiver position and quarterback position. We gave you our thoughts. Well, Justin Hokanson will give us his thoughts on all of those battles for the Auburn Tigers.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Just got a wreck northbound, 431 at Taylor Lane. That one's coming in as a no injury, but it may have lane blockage. Everything else looking pretty good this morning. You be careful on your trip in. Watch out for the fog if you got a long way to go. It may slow you down. Snelling needs an experienced machine operator. It's direct hire with excellent benefits. Snelling, how Huntsville's best companies hire talent. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Carrier Rosenblum here with Rosenblum Realty, and we appreciate our MA family. Football season is back again, and we're here for your real estate needs. We've been also doing rental properties for many years. You may have a home that you need to lease out. You don't need the headaches. You need somebody to take care of it, make sure the repairs are done, keep the rent coming in, and screen the tenants. We can do all that for you at Rosenblum Realty, where we do property management services, or you can find a good home to rent as well. Call us at 256-539-9501. Put our years of experience to work for you.
Mark and Henry McDaniel, attorneys at law, are proud alumni of Madison Academy, and Madison Academy is proud of them. They have served our community through their practice, through volunteerism and service on national, state, and local boards. They explain the complexity of critical court rulings on local media. Their successful practice has been built on integrity. Both are veterans of MA Athletics and proud sponsors of Mustang football. McDaniel & McDaniel, attorneys at law. No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by the lawyer.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Do you know that your car or truck or SUV may be worth up to 30 or 40% more than it was last year? It's true. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and now is the perfect time to trade in and trade up to a gold certified or blue certified pre-owned car, truck, SUV, or crossover. While our new vehicle inventory continues to build back, our Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned vehicles are nearing 100 models to choose from, and a good variety too. Woody Anderson Ford Gold certified vehicles are 6 years or younger with less than 80,000 miles and have passed a 172-point inspection by factory certified technicians. They have a 14-day, 1,000-mile money-back guarantee, a great comprehensive limited warranty, 24-hour roadside assistance, and go home with full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Get nearly a new ride and none of the worries. Woody Anderson Ford, Jordan at Sparkman. Hope to see you soon.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
The Huntsville Sports Commission, a not-for-profit organization, is driven by the love of sports, and we're excited to announce several events already planned for this fall, including the Gulf Coast Conference Soccer Championship, the AVCA Fall Collegiate Beach Championships, the NCAA Division I Regional Cross Country Championship, and the Running Lane Nationals Cross Country. For the love of sports, the Huntsville Sports Commission. Find out more at huntsvillesports.org.
This is Paul Feinbaum. Listen to me coming up today at 2. Now back to Talking Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Indeed, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond hanging out until 9 a.m. on a Monday. Welcome into the show, and as we kind of alluded to right before the break, the Auburn Tigers kind of going in. They scrimmaged on Saturday inside Jordan-Hare Stadium. Brian Harsin saying they were going to take the weekend, Sunday and Monday, kind of look at those films and kind of start penciling in some names in that depth chart. And pencil is the key word there, because I have a feeling when it comes to that quarterback spot, they're going to write a name down, maybe erase it, write a name down, maybe erase it. But I'd imagine TJ Finley may be up there. We don't really know yet.
Well, our next guest certainly has some intel, and he was there in for the open practice inside Jordan-Hare Stadium on Saturday, and then, of course, had the intel coming out of the scrimmage on Friday night, and then the players are off today, or off Sunday, excuse me.
Yeah.
And now they're going to have staff meetings. They're going to start by Tuesday formulating this depth chart. But our next guest is the insider and beat writer for Auburn Live on 3, It's, as I've said before, it's growing as fast as any Auburn site there is in the United States. He's back in the business after doing some great work for Rivals and 24/7, but now a big part of On3Sports.com, and that's Justin Hokanson, and he's been good enough and kind enough to join us and give us his thoughts on Auburn right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Justin, welcome back. You're with Drew and Scott in Huntsville. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning.
Morning, sir. I thought your piece was really interesting, and you guys got that kind of feedback from Eric Kiesau after the scrimmage when he spoke to the media. But I thought it was interesting the way they're grading the quarterbacks in this race. That's really is really too close to call right now.
Yeah, I mean it's they all do something. I guess their strength is all different, and so. It's been an interesting fall camp where they've all had their moments. They all do something that you kind of maybe look at and point to and say, well, they do that well. The other guy doesn't do that, but he does that. And so it's just been an interesting camp, and nobody's really pulled away. Nobody's been so stellar that the decisions become easy. And so, I think when you listen to Brian Harsin. In terms of what he likes, it's hard to imagine TJ Finley at this point not being at least named the starter for the opener. Right. Because he does do the little things in terms of game management, game operation, and just all that little stuff. He does seem to do that well. I've heard that not just from Harsin publicly, but privately. He does those things well. And if you have a competition this close, and from what I understand in terms of completion percentage and stuff like that, it's fairly close between Finley and Calzada. Like, there's not a lot of difference there. I mean, there's just not. So to me, if that's the case, it's going to be hard to not go with the guy that you supposedly does all the game management stuff well versus Calzada, who's been very inconsistent in that regard during fall camp.
Should we be, if you're an Auburn fan, should you be a little concerned that either TJ Finley or Zach Calzada has not kind of separated themselves from each other? We know it's a new offensive system. It's a new style a little bit. But should there be a little bit of concern there?
I think that's hard. That's hard to answer. Like, I would say, sure. Would you love for one guy to take the reins? Yes. But from what I understand, neither guy, and even throwing Robbie in there, Robbie Ashford, nobody's been bad. Like, it's not. It's okay. Just, I would say it's been a competition of three guys who've done a decent job. Okay. Nobody's been stellar, but they haven't been bad either. And so I really think until you get in the game, whoever wins the job, it's like, okay, you won the job for now. Now you got to go do it in the game. It's a camp. It's somebody's going to get named a starter. Somebody gets to start. Maybe they'll all get some series at some point in the first couple weeks. And now it's just going and doing it in the game. I don't think enough separation was made for anybody to feel comfortable. That's for sure. In terms of, well, it's my job no matter what. I mean, Bo Nix. I'll put it this way: the difference between Bo and TJ last year was greater than what you've got going on now. And Bo still got pulled in that Georgia State game because Brian Harsin just felt like they needed to do something different. And it changed Bo. Bo was better after that. But the separation last year was more than the separation this year, and you still had Bo get pulled in that game when things weren't going well. So, I mean, I think that, to me, that says that all three of these guys should still keep their mind right in terms of these first few weeks and getting opportunities. But I wouldn't be too concerned until you see it in the game. Let's see what they do in a game. That's going to be different than practice anyway.
You made a good point too, Justin, that we'll probably see all three of these guys potentially in the first 2 weeks because Auburn should handle Mercer and San Jose State.
I think so. Certainly Mercer. I mean, look, you should be able to go out there, first game opener, take care of business, and if you don't have an opportunity to get each one of those guys a series or two, then something's wrong. But look, you could also make the argument. The argument against that is, let's say TJ's the starter. Well, he still needs a lot of experience, and so it's not a thing where you want to necessarily treat it completely like a practice and give them all equal reps. I mean, somebody earned the starting job, and if it's TJ, then you would want to get him as much game experience as you can. So it's kind of a double-edged sword where I would love for TJ to take every snap in a game, in the heat, get that. But you also need to see those other guys. So I think it'll have to be a balance of getting those guys in the game. But yeah, I can't imagine Robbie Ashford and Zach Calzada not getting a series or two in the first game, and then San Jose State. We'll see how the second half goes, but I can't imagine those guys not getting legitimate series in the first two games. If they don't, that'd be shocking. That'd be a little surprising to me, considering how the camp's gone, for all those guys to not get a chance in the first two games, because after that schedule gets brutal, and the reality is you don't know exactly what you're going to get with TJ based on what you saw last year. You just don't know. So I'd be surprised if they don't all get at least a drive or two to get under their belt in those first couple of games.
What did you see from the offensive line on Saturday?
Yeah, it's an interesting group. I mean, they're coming along. I think the main group is set outside of center at this point. I think that's now the big boy. That's turned into really outside of quarterback. It's one of the things we're watching the most. Is okay, now what happens at quarterback is I mean center, and is Nick Brum's really out? Which it just the more I hear, it just doesn't. I'm just not sure that he can go enough to play. And if that's the case, if Tate Johnson's the guy, which it seems like he is at the moment, he certainly seems to be getting a lot of first-team reps. That's a huge question mark. He's a good player. He's a tough kid, but he's undersized. And so I think that's the big question is, can he hold his own? I've talked to people that inside at practice, and they say he's done a good job. They say he's held his own against those interior defensive linemen, even somebody like Jason Jones. It's not just getting bowled over at 285 or so. They said he's doing well, but we'll see when you get in the game. So I think the center position really is the big question mark, whether it's Tate Johnson, whether it's Jaleel Irvin. They're even giving Avery Jernigan some reps there. Brandon Council's going back and forth guard to center, so is Irvin. So that whole interior right there is interesting to figure out who the center is. But Jeremiah Wright moves back over to add a little depth at guard. So I think they've got okay depth, probably top 7 guys. Where they interior, probably more importantly, Brendan Coffey sounds like he's come on. So if Zaire, something were to happen there, you've got an athletic guy out there at left tackle. So they're coming along, but it's still a group that really is going to be heavily reliant on those starters. And if they have to go back into the depth chart, it's going to take a step backwards.
And we've seen at Alabama, Kobe Prentice from Calera taking steps forward to maybe be a starter as a true freshman. Seems as though wide receiver-wise, Camden Brown well on his way to doing that for Auburn.
Yeah, he's going to play. He got a lot of reps on Saturday. Shed Jackson kind of took the practice off. He was dressed out, but he just sort of took a breather, if you will. He's fine. I still think Shed probably starts at that outside position, and I think Camden Brown is probably right behind him. I think Malcolm Johnson is in a good space to start. And then I think that slot position is interesting. Tavares Dawson seemed to be with the ones more on Saturday, but that goes back and forth. Tavares Johnson, maybe the more experienced guy, gets the nod there, but both those guys seem like they're going to play a ton. And then I would go Shed, Malcolm. Camden Brown is behind Shedrick Jackson, and then Coy Moore is behind Malcolm Johnson. That's going to be probably your main 6. Davion Capers will get in there as well at times, and some others. But that'll probably be your main 6 in terms of playmakers and who's going to produce the plays. It's going to be from that main group of guys, and Camden Brown seems to be one of them. He's a guy that could get targets in those situational times. Maybe it's third down and you just need a big target or a stop route or a slant route or a goal line fade. Or I think there's times where they're going to try to figure out how to get him one-on-one and target him because he's such a big target.
Brian Harsin during his press conference, I mean, and not a surprise, but the defense has been ahead of this offense for most of fall camp, and it is a little bit of experience. Auburn has a bright spot, definitely in some of those defensive key positions.
Yeah, it seems to always be the case. Defense is coming along pretty nicely, I would say, and they've definitely won both the scrimmages early on, made it tough for the for the offense to get things going. I got to think Jeff Schmedding feels pretty good about where they're at on defense, developing depth. The secondary seems like a group that's come along a lot in terms of athletes they're stepping up, whether it's Keontae Scott, whether it's Caden Bridges, whether it's J.D. Rim. Sounds like guys taking good steps forward there. And then even the defensive line. I mean, Morris Joseph Jr. is kind of a revelation this fall camp. You know, that Memphis transfer coming in, but it certainly sounds like he's a little better than they thought he would be in terms of leverage and holding his own. He sounds like he's a good player. And then Jason Jones, let's see what happens with him. But I think they've developed some good depth there as well. So I think they feel pretty good about defense. Linebacker is still kind of, to me, the position that we'll just have to wait and see if enough depth develops there. Papo and Cam Riley are going to have to stay healthy all season. They're not going to be able to really miss a lot of snaps. So I think the defense has got a real chance, if that defensive line does their job, to be really good. I think Schmedding, for his first year as a coordinator in the SEC, you've got to feel pretty good about what you've got in your first opportunity. You know, it could be a lot worse in terms of your first year as a coordinator in the SEC of what you're trotting out there. But he's got a pretty good situation to sort of get his feet wet in the SEC.
Yeah, and they've got – I love Leota and Hall. I mean, they've got two good edge guys, no doubt about it. And quite frankly, just from all the intel you guys have gotten about Jason Jones, the transfer from Oregon, the former prep player from Calera, not far from Auburn within state, coming back home to play for the Tigers, it seems as though he's been pretty impressive and that he's been in good shape and that he's got a chance to, as you said, impact this Auburn D-line in his first year.
Yeah, he's got a great chance. There's no doubt. And he's one of those guys that I think we're waiting to see. He's got the size. There's no question about it. I still want to see him do it. I want to watch him against Penn State. I want to watch him against LSU.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see him I want to see him create havoc at that size. If he can, then yeah, he all of a sudden turns into a real X factor in what that defense can be, because you don't have many 6'5", 320, 325-pound defensive tackles. Those guys just don't grow on trees. And so if he can master all the fundamentals and the technique and the physicality and the toughness and all that stuff and match his size, then I think that Auburn defensive line just takes another massive step forward. He's going to be really interesting to watch because his ceiling is really high. I mean, worst case, he's a guy that can get in there and anchor in the middle, maybe cause some issues in terms of the quarterback throwing over the middle. Maybe he's a guy that can knock passes down and just kind of be a problem in there.
And Auburn has had a couple of first-round picks at DB in the last few seasons. We saw Noah Igbenogany switch from offense to defense and become a really good player. Roger McCreary became one of the best corners in the SEC a year ago. If in your mind, after your intel and watching practice, who is going to be that number one corner for Auburn this year?
Yeah, it sounds like Nehemiah Pritchett would be the guy, but we heard some interesting things on Jalen Simpson the other day. I was just kind of looking at in terms of what the coaches think about his ceiling. And so he's going to be an interesting one to watch this year. Jalen's an incredible athlete. I watched that kid play basketball this summer when the football team played the walk-ons in basketball in kind of a fun game in Auburn Arena. And his athleticism is insane. I mean, he can get up and dunk the ball like you'd think the guy's a future in college basketball. His athletic ability is crazy. So it'll be interesting to see if Jalen Simpson can put it together and develop in this year what kind of corner he can be. But Nehemiah's probably more in line to be that sort of number one cornerback. Incredible speed, good length, and all that good stuff. And then both him and Jalen, look, they'll both come up and tackle too, so they're both in good position. So I think Nehemiah's the guy going into the season that's probably your number one, because of his combination of length and speed. But I think Jalen Simpson's a good enough athlete that if the light kind of comes on and he continues to develop as a pure corner, he's got the tools to be really, really good on the other side. So I'm curious to sort of see how he develops. And then DJ James from Oregon is a kid to watch as well. See, he'll play some nickel, he'll play some outside. He's kind of that third corner, if you will. But Auburn's got the potential of having two guys in Simpson and Nehemiah that do a really good job.
Absolutely. Well, good stuff. Great stuff from Justin Hokanson, Auburn Live on 3, part of on3sports.com. You guys had an amazing coverage of fall camp. I know it's going to continue. And I know you guys have a great promotion going on. I know it's not going to go on too much longer, but tell the listeners about that.
Yeah, it's running on. We've joked about the $1 for 1 year. We actually have a date when it's going to end, which is 10 days from now. So I think middle of that first, leading up to Mercer, they're cutting it off. So if you haven't taken advantage already, you got about 10 days to get $1 for the next year, and then after that, you're just like everybody else. It'll be monthly. So auburnlive.com, man, it's growing like crazy, and we would appreciate anybody that wants to be a part of the community to hop on over.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Good stuff. A lot of good stuff there about the Auburn Tigers, as they are just about a little over a week away as well. 1 week from Saturday, they'll take on the Mercer Bears.
Yeah, sounds like it's maybe TJ Finley, but far from over. It's probably going to be a situation where you got multiple QBs getting reps if they play to their capabilities, as you would anticipate against Mercer and potentially against San Jose State. We certainly hope that's not another Georgia State situation.
Let's get that break in. When we come back here, tomorrow's headlines today to wrap up the 2-hour extravaganza.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Just got a wreck northbound, 431 at Taylor Lane. That one's coming in as a no injury, but it may have lane blockage. Everything else looking pretty good this morning. You be careful on your trip in. Watch out for the fog if you got a long way to go. It may slow you down. Snelling needs an experienced machine operator. It's direct hire with excellent benefits. Snelling, how Huntsville's best companies hire talent. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
New message.
What up? It's Heather's cousin. You dated her in college, or maybe you were just in the same class. Anyway, I heard you bought a boat, my man. Let's hit the water. Oh, and Heather told me you always liked snacks and stuff, so I could totally bring some chips.
When you get a boat, you also get new friends. Make sure Progressive's one of them, and get coverage today for as little as $100 a year.
Hey, also, I'm a little short on cash, so can you cover the chips? Thanks. I can see why Heather liked you.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Annual premium for basic liability policy not available in all states.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
Listen to the Tom Abraham Show.
And he loves fishing.
I hadn't called in during your show lately, but just wanted to say hi. It's just amazing. It's the great people y'all have and the great personalities in all the town. And we're lucky in this area to have you guys.
Listen to the Big Dog, weekdays from 10 to noon on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us, too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
The Trash Pandas are back and better than ever. Single game tickets for the 2022 Trash Pandas season are on sale now. This season's promotions include all new giveaway items, specialty jerseys, holiday games, and fireworks all season long. Reserve your seat now while you still can at TrashPandasBaseball.com. Let's rock it.
From Coleman to Fayetteville and all points in between.
Son, pull the hammer back. Smokey's coming at you in a plain white wrapper.
97.7 ESPN The Zone. This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. ESPN's Chris Lowe over the weekend kind of releasing a little nugget letting us know that SEC AD and coaches are right now in favor and preferring a 3-6 format when it comes to scheduling in the future. That's 9 conference games.
And there should be. Sorry, Jeff.
Yep. And Texas A&M, Ross Bjork, told Chris Lowe that they are really in favor of that. And if they do, Texas A&M wants Texas and LSU to be 2 of its 3 permanent games every year.
A lot of L's, hopefully, for them there.
Yeah.
But they're used to losing.
Yeah, so far, Chris Lowe saying Texas, Texas A&M, Florida, Georgia, LSU, and Missouri. We know Nick Saban and Alabama would be on board with 9.
I can tell you who the 3 should be for Texas A&M easily. I mean, it should be, Arkansas, Texas, and then maybe LSU.
Yeah, they want Texas. Ross Bjork says they want Texas and LSU. So their third one would be.
Yeah.
That's the one they would have to decide.
Yeah,
anyway,
and that would I still think Arkansas, because Sam Pittman wants Texas and Texas A&M as part. It was one of his 3,
right?
Or 2 of his 3, I should say, because of the recruiting that they do in the state of Texas. So they would have a chance, like they did last year, to flatten Texas and gain a recruiting stranglehold there. So we will see. But and with Alabama, I've said it before, I think their 3 permanent wins would be, to me, if I were Alabama, it would be Auburn, Tennessee, and Mississippi State, because they played Mississippi State longer than anyone, including Auburn, because there was a interruption in that series. But Mississippi State just 45 minutes down the road. And then it would ease the LSU anxiety of losing constantly to Alabama.
And if you're Auburn, you would take Alabama and Georgia?
Oh, yeah, I still think. I mean, I know there's been some consternation about that, but it's the South's oldest rivalry. You play Georgia, just like Alabama plays Tennessee. That's Auburn's rival, certainly. And, Auburn's other permanent opponent, that would be the interesting part. Who would that be? Because obviously it's going to be Alabama and Georgia, but who's the third permanent opponent for them?
Now, Tennessee, I'd imagine, would take Vanderbilt, but would anybody else want to claim Vanderbilt as one of your three permanent
Probably
rivals?
because they'd win every year. No offense.
No, I'm just saying, yeah. I mean, because we're sitting here.
High probability of winning.
Yeah. Who's going to take Vanderbilt?
Heck, I think Auburn would stand up and say yes.
We'll take.
If we have to play Alabama and Georgia every year, give us Vandy.
Kentucky.
And that's no disrespect, but I'm just saying, you get to play Vandy every year, and at least you'd have a little bit less stress after you have to play Alabama and Georgia every season.
So if you're like a South Carolina, who would you take? I mean, that's interesting to go through and be like, okay, if you're all these schools, what would you take? But anyway, that's the latest from Chris Lowe, the SEC.
I agree with that.
And coaches right now in favor of a 3-6 format when it comes to scheduling.
And we want to thank Bryant Bank, our sponsor, and congratulate Rich Dutton and the Grissom Tigers for their 34-21 win over the Russellville Golden Tigers at Milton Frank to become our first team of the week after week 0.
All right. We'll be back at it tomorrow, Tuesday, Talking Ball right here in the studios, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Download the app today so you can take us 24/7. See ya.
Bailey Custom Boats. We knew our boats were special when we would stop at any outdoor store to stock up on supplies for a boat trip, only to
swelling, aching, heaviness, and fatigue. Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville can diagnose and treat your varicose veins with the latest minimally invasive techniques. Diagnosis and treatment is covered by most insurances. Call 256-715